Morning, everybody. We'll just give everyone else a few minutes to join. We had quite a few sign up, so I'll give everybody a few minutes before we get started. Just give it another 30 seconds and then we will get started. Oh, okay, we are recording this session, so if anybody does need to drop off at any time, then they can rewatch the session back afterwards. And for anybody that's not able to make it live, they'll be able to watch it back as well. So thank you all for joining this morning. Today's webinar, we're going to cover kind of the fundamentals of Web CMS. So for some of you, this may be information you're already aware of. It might be a bit of a refresher for some of you who maybe have been with your respective companies for not that long. Bit of a training session, bit of a guide on kind of getting the most out of the platform and ensuring you're doing everything possible to get as many sales as you possibly can as well. So we're going to cover kind of a bit of catalog management, brands, how you can use those, product features, promotions. We'll touch a little bit on feeds, touch a little bit on shipping, the data importer, and then settings as well. I'm going to apologize now. I will be sharing a screen to my left, so it will look like I'm kind of looking away from the camera for large periods of time. It's just setup that I've got today. Any questions throughout the session, just use the chat function of the meeting. By default, all of your cameras and microphones are set to be off, but I can enable those if it's easier for you to ask a question over the microphone. So yeah, we'll get started. So I suppose it's a rhetorical question, but question for you to think about is how often are you reviewing your catalog? I'd imagine a lot of you created your catalog when you first joined us, whether that was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a year ago. How often are you reviewing that catalog? You might be adding new products as you start selling them, but when was the last time that you did a real review of your catalog? Because there could be quite a lot of things in there now that you're no longer selling. Yeah, they're on the website, it's redundant, they don't need to be there. With that though, there is a couple of things that you need to think about if you do need to remove anything from your website. As I'm sure you're all aware, there's two ways that you can remove things from your catalog. There is either remove, which will orphan it. Anything that gets orphaned can be recovered. Okay. Anything that you delete is permanently deleted from your database. Okay, so it can never be retrieved. It can have, consequences as well if you do delete anything that you maybe didn't need to. Not only is it a live product that you've then got to spend the time recreating, but also if it's maybe a product that has only recently kind of been out of stock and you're no longer selling it, customers who then go to retrieve an order on the website, they need to look back at their orders. It can cause the website to error if they're trying to retrieve an order that has got that product on. So in terms of deleting, only do that if it's absolutely necessary. So yeah, content items, they can be deleted. Things on the homepage, fine to delete. But probably the best thing with products is to remove them and just orphan them so that they're not visible any longer on the website. In terms of kind of your web CMS structure, at the moment I'm sharing one of our test sites. Now I know this won't be possible for everybody because everybody's setup is a little bit different. But the ideal catalog, the ideal web CMS is something that looks similar to what I'm showing on the screen now. So you've got your catalog with your department structure of products set up. You've got your additional departments, which is where your homepage lives, your contact page, header content, etc., etc. And then you've got an information department. You might have a blogs department, top level department as well, or a news top level department. But ideally, you want to keep your web CMS as tidy as possible to make it as easy as possible for you to manage. If, of course, you're using our Type C customer functionality, where you can create a specific catalog for a specific customer, then, of course, you might have some additional top-level departments. But ideally, you want to try and keep your web CMS as tidy as possible. All of your products should live in the catalog. Shouldn't create products outside of that. I know historically there might have been a need for that, but with the way that things are set up now, everything should be created with your catalog and then referenced out if you need it to show elsewhere. So if there is a product that you are selling to only a specific set of customers, that should still be in your catalog and then referenced out to any Type C catalogs. Or if you want to reference it somewhere on the homepage, you reference it rather than creating it directly within additional departments. The reason that we've got the information department is for creating sort of content pages. And I touched on this in the modular webinar that we did last month. If, for example, I've got a page here which is inspiration. If I created that directly within footer content, my URL would be additional departments / footer content / inspiration. It's not a very nice URL. Whereas by creating it in information and then referencing it to footer content, my URL would be / information / inspiration. So it's a much neater, much tidier URL. If you are going to go back and kind of review your setup after this, just make sure that you consider any 301 redirects. So if you are suddenly going to move things that you created directly within footer content out into an information department, you will need to put a 301 redirect in place, which you can do via the admin. If anybody wants any more information on 301 redirects, then just drop me an email after the session and we can go through that separately. So yeah, as mentioned, all products should be in catalog. So we're going to have a look specifically at some things that you may be doing already, you may not be doing within your catalog. And it's really these 3 things that I'm about to show you are really to help you try and make as many sales through the website as possible. So within the catalog, you can set up cross-sell products, you can set up alternatives, and you can set up quantity cross-sell. Cross-sell and alternatives are there by default. Quantity cross-sell is something that you need to contact us to enable, which we can do for you. There's no extra cost in us enabling that for you. So if we start with cross-sell, and the cross-sell, I'll show you an example in a moment, but the cross-sell is those, do you also need this product? So I'll show you an example in a minute, but for example, if you're in, you're browsing the Currys website and you're looking at a 50-inch TV, quite often it will come up, do you want to buy a sound bar as well? That's them trying to push you to spend more money. So, okay, you're buying X, do you need Y to go with it? It's that cross-selling, trying to get customers to buy more. So if we have a look at, I've got to try and remember now which one I set it up in. Let's have a look. It wasn't that one. We'll come back to that one in a moment. But what we can do, let's set one up live. So if they are buying a sofa, you might want to cross-sell them to buy a sideboard as well. Okay, this is aimed a bit more at the retail side, but I'm sure in kind of the B2B market, there is definitely a way that you can get this to work. So if I clear that and get that to show. Just wait for that to load and come through. So you can see there now below, it's showing a related products below the main product. We can rename this title for you. The default is related products, but for a lot of customers, we have previously renamed that. So if there is something specific that you want that to say, we can change that for you. But you can have as many related cross-sell products as you need to push those sales. If you've got more than 4, they will carousel on the product page, so customers will be able to see those, and from that same page, able to add them to the basket, so they don't have to be taken away from the product page. We've then got alternatives. So if we have a look at this product, you can see there's an alternative. So it's the same type of product, but it may be a different style, different shape, different size. There's either two setups here. They'll either show all the time, or you can make it show alternatives when a product is out of stock. So again, if you're maybe viewing a 50-inch TV, they haven't got the Samsung one, but they've got an LG one. What you do need to remember to do, though, when you are setting this up, is making sure that they all link. So if you've got cross-sell set up on one product, do you have the corresponding or the other cross-sell on the other product? So if you've got product B as a cross-sell on product A, have you got product A as a cross-sell on product B? Just to then make sure that you've got that continuity across the website. At the moment, all of this does need to be set up manually. However, we are working on adding this to the product importer, which we'll touch on in a little while. And then the last sort of element of this to kind of push those sales is the quantity cross-sell. The quantity cross-sell is the sort of suggested items that you need to buy to go alongside that. So it's not oh, you're buying a TV, do you need a soundbar? It's, as I'll show you here, you're buying a light, or do you need the 4 light bulbs to go with it? And the system is really clever, and you can set what the suggested quantity per item is. So actually, if this light is 4 spotlights, but this was only a pack of 2 light bulbs, we can set in Web CMS what the suggested quantity is. So if I now change that to 2, this will now update to show suggested quantity per 2. And what you can do is click on there, add to basket. That will add both the main product, the light, and it will add the light bulbs at the same time. Okay, so lots of different scenarios that may come in useful for. Any questions around cross-sell alternatives or quantity cross-sell before we move on? Perfect, all good. So the next bit that we can cross sell. We can quickly test that out. I believe I have got a matrix product set up. So if we see, this isn't an example that you would do it for, but we can have a look and see whether that does work. We add that. And it's the armchair. Yeah, so it will only work for individual SKUs or simple products. So if you have got a matrix product, you would just need to add the individual SKUs to it. It doesn't let you add a matrix product. But good question. So the next bit we are going to move on to is brands. There's lots of different things that you can do with brands on the website. So the brands are added in Web CMS. So you just add a brand, you give it a name, you can add an image to it. The main place that people think that the brands show is on the product page. So if we go to, actually, we'll go to that one. And we'll click on that one. So you can see here that I've got a brand, the brand logo shows on the product page. In order to add that to the actual product, go living room recliners, that one. In the marketing section here, you can add a brand to the product. So that's the main place that the brand will show. But from there, the customer can click on the brand and it will take them to a brand results page where it will show all of the products that are under that brand. I believe, Kevin, that if you put in a URL, I will double check this and I can follow up with you afterwards. But you can add a URL. I don't know if that will override it. I would need to check it afterwards, so I can follow that up with you afterwards. But there is potential that you can get it to link elsewhere. The default is that it would take you to a brand results page with all of the products that have got that brand assigned to it. And it will then also give you some filters of the different departments. So, okay, I'm looking at G-Plan, but actually I just want to look at the armchairs that G-Plan. So rather than you having to kind of go through and create a catalog structure with all the branded products in, this is automatically doing it for you. As well as having a brand results page that you can get to from the product, there's also a module, which we covered in the modular webinar, where you can add a brand carousel to the homepage. And again, if you click on it from there, it will take you to the brand results page. And also, don't know if it is enabled, but if you've got the template set to product filter on a page, so if I've got here, go recliners, you can change the template to product filter and it will give you a brand filter again. So another way for customers to find what they're looking for. Right, need to buy a sofa, but actually I only want to look at G-Plan sofas because that's the brand that I need to buy for my customer. Brands can be added via the data import and attached to products. So if this isn't something that you've ever done before, you can do that in bulk. You just need the stock code and then the brand, and just make sure that, yeah, you've got the brands set up in here. So we've touched on it a little bit there, but we're now going to have a look at product features. Product features are great if you've got departments with a lot of products in it. I know some customers opt to kind of create quite a granular, drilled down catalog structure. Only risk that you kind of run with that is that customers may have a lot of clicks to get through before they get to a page with products. Whereas what you could do is have maybe 2 or 3 department levels, but in that last department level, you've got 100 products in it, and you add filters so that the customer can filter down what they need to look for using product features. At the moment, product features have to be created manually, or there is a spreadsheet that we can send to you and then upload for you. We are, however, working on adding that to the web CMS importer so that is something that you can upload yourself in bulk. I believe it is literally going through the final stages of being tested. So hopefully by the end of this month, that will be rolled out and ready to you, that those of you that have got the web CMS importer. So product features, would touch on it briefly. So I've got here a lighting feature set, and then I've got my different features that come within that. So number of bulbs, IP rating, etc. The filter type, or the feature type, sorry, is list. Some of you who have been with us for quite a few years, you may be using Boolean, you may be using string. However, ideally, the main feature set that you should be using is list. Kind of gives you the best control and of your filters. And then you've got the list items. So actually what filters are under that. So number of bulbs, you might have 4, 1, 2, etc. To then attach those filters and features to products, we go into accessories and lighting. In the product editor, you've got features, and you can see there that we've got some of the features set. So it will show you all of them, but you only need to apply the relevant ones. So actually for this light, I only need to do the number of bulbs, the IP rating, and actually we'll leave that as that. And then we'll save that. And if we go back onto the product page, or the department page rather, you can see there that I've got my filters down the left-hand side. In order to get those to show, you will need to make sure that the department template is set to product filter. They won't show unless it's set to product filter. With the features, there are kind of a couple of other benefits, and there are other filters and features that you can show that don't need to be set up manually. So I showed you a moment ago the brand results page. You can see there that we've got some features there that are generated using the departments that have been created. Any other features that you would have applied to these products would also show on this page. The brand results page filtering is all controlled by a theme previewer for those of you that are on themed, as well as brand results. You can also add features, or you can enable the features to show on the favorites page. So I've favorited this product, so it will pull through the features. And then the last sort of place that you can get the features to show is actually on the product page. So this is a configurable setting that we would need to enable for you. But pulling through the settings, the features that you add to the products, we can enable a specifications table on the product page. So it will pull through there. So these are all the features that I've got enabled, and it shows them in a nice neat table for the customer to see. I haven't got it enabled on this demo site, but again, if you've got the product comparer enabled on your site, so that's a setting that's only available for themed customers, again, it will pull through the features that you've got assigned to that product so that the customers can compare what they're looking at. and then work out which is the best product for them. So just very quickly show you within the theme previewer. It also will give you a very quick insight into a new and refreshed theme previewer that we'll be releasing in the next week or so. But if we go to the filtering section here, you can control where you want it to show. So do you want your features to show on search results, brand results, the favorites, top products? You've got a variety of different options there. So you can add an in-stock filter. Do you want the brand filter? So if you are adding brands to products, you don't need to create a separate brands feature because it will automatically pull through that data. And then the display as well. So how do you want those features to display? Is it alphanumeric, CMS, order, or in count order? How many groups do you want to be visible by default? Options as well. So yeah, those of you that have got access to the theme previewer, there's lots there that you can control with your features. Any other questions around features and feature sets? Nope, perfect. We'll move on then. So only going to briefly touch on promotions, just because there is a full webinar on promotions that we did last year. But there is a variety of different promotions that you can set up on the website. These are very much geared towards B2B. So there are some limitations around the promotions, but hopefully you will be able to get them to work for what you need to. So whether that's a buy one, get one free, whether that's a promotion, an order promotion, so spend £5,000, get 5% off. You can do promotions through discount codes. You can do can't be used with any other promotions, so exclusivity, one-time use. So promotions are a really good way of trying to get customers who may be reluctant to use the website to get online and use it. So offering them a one-time promotion that they can use on an order. The way quite often tell customers to sort of market that is say that it's a website only promotion. Yes, you could have one of your sales agents place that order for them and they could apply the discount, but kind of really emphasize that it's a website only promotion. They have to place the order through the website, and then that will get them online and hopefully continuing to use the website for ordering. The next bit we'll very briefly touch on is feeds. So the feeds are used if you need to export your data and upload it elsewhere. So whether that's Google Shopping or something like that, you can either export it as a CSV or as a Google products file. The way to kind of categorize the feed is, you'll notice, go into a product and go into the feeds tab. You can add a category. So if we say CSV, we'll call this one sofas. Then when you export it, the sofa will come out, that specific one will come out under the sofas category. So it won't pull out the department structure. You would need to, it's a bit of a manual setup if that is something that you need to do. But then if I export that, it will probably only pull out one product because I've only assigned a category to one product. Depending on, again, how big kind of your catalog is and what setup you've got, it does take a minute or so to do. But once it is done, it will automatically pop up in your downloads for you to view, and whether that's sharing it with your customers or uploading it elsewhere. If you do want any more information on feeds, then just drop me an email afterwards and we can go through that in more detail. So there you can see actually everything else has just been pulled out as catalog. There's no, because I haven't set another category on it. But you see there, it will pull out which department it's in. It will give you the URL. It will give you the stock code. It will give you the image URL. And it will give you the net price. So if you've got the prices stored in Web CMS, then it will pull out all of the information there that you've got on those products. So a lot of data there that can be pulled out and either uploaded or maybe sent to one of your suppliers that want to list your products on their website. It's an easy way then for them to upload that data. So next bit we will move on to is shipping. So again, there is a full shipping webinar, which Holly, our second line technician, did about 18 months ago now. So it is definitely well worth watching in full. Again, for those of you that have been with us for quite a few years, maybe worth just reviewing your shipping, just checking that it is up to date and accurate, especially kind of given what's going on in the world at the moment. Costs have increased, so it is worth making sure that your shipping setup reflects those costs. You're not undercharging your customers for shipping. And yeah, just making sure that you can ship everywhere that you need to. So the main three components of the shipping, I'll touch on them briefly. You've got a shipping service that is pretty self-explanatory. It's the service that you're offering. So you can see here that I've got a few set up. So I've got a next day UK delivery below £500, over £500. I've got a free delivery. I've got a standard, and then I've got a couple of Europe services as well. Within there, you can set where the shipping zone is, which we'll touch on in a minute, the price, the weight, the max order value for that service. Then we've got shipping zones. So that is, where are you shipping to? So you can either set those up as a country zone, or you can set them up as a postcode zone. So if I know some of you may only deliver sort of locally to a certain radius, you're probably going to set up a postcode zone, and you would pop in all the different postcodes that you deliver to. Anybody that tries to deliver to one of those postcodes or a different postcode that's not in your list, it will just tell them they've not got a shipping service that's available to you. So again, just making sure that your zones are all accurate and up to date. And then the last bit is the shipping groups. So shipping groups are used for those quite often unusually large products. So it could be that it's a product that's 3 meters in length that isn't going to fit in the back of a DPD van. So you might have to use a specialist courier to send that. It costs more money. So you need to make sure, you want to make sure any customer that is ordering that product pays extra for the delivery to cover that shipping. So you see here, you might have some things that need to go on a pallet. So if there is a product that you do need to add to a shipping group, then that is done within here. So you see under the delivery tab, you can add a shipping group to that product. It will cover it in full in the other webinar, but you can do things like making sure that if a customer orders something that's normal delivery, something that's pallet delivery, it will make sure that it charges them both, or it might not charge them standard delivery because it can go on with the pallet and the costs are covered that way. So you can make sure that you get the setup right for you. And then the last thing with the shipping services is you can set up a shipping key. So a shipping key is where you want to set up a shipping service that is specifically for one customer. So you might have a customer that's been with you for years. Doesn't matter what they order, what the value is, you will always give them free shipping. And the way you would do that is you would pop the shipping key in here. So you could just call it customer. And then within the admin section of the website, when you're on the account overview, it will give you, there will be a box that says shipping key, and you would just put that same shipping key in there. So customer, and it just means that whenever that specific customer goes to place an order, that one shipping service will show for them. So you can have multiple services with the same shipping key. You can't have multiple shipping keys per customer, but you can have multiple services with the same shipping. So it could be that, yes, the customer can pick next day delivery, but they don't need to pay as much as everyone else. So you can put a bit of control on those shipping services. As I said, definitely worth rewatching the shipping webinar. It is available on here. So it was, back in August 2024. Our shipping service setup is exactly the same. So that webinar is still very, very valid. So I said, definitely worth rewatching that. Are there any quick questions around shipping? Nope. All good. So the next bit we briefly touch on, and again, I'm only going to briefly touch on it just because there are a couple of fairly in-depth sort of videos that are on our YouTube channel on how to use the data importer. But this is still something that is relatively new, but I think most customers have now got it enabled on their website. But it allows you to upload and edit products in bulk. So whether you suddenly get a new range of products that you need to sell, rather than you sitting there kind of one by one and uploading them, you can fill in a spreadsheet and then upload that data in full. Or whether you've got a range of products and suddenly the manufacturer decides that they're going to change the description of that product, rather than you going in one by one, all you need to do is get all the stock codes, put in the new descriptions, upload that, and that will then overwrite what's there. But as I said, it's definitely worth rewatching or going to watch those videos. So here you've got that one is step 2, and I believe step 1 is there. So there's a couple of in-depth videos that have been made on the web CMS data importer. For most of you, the mobile app won't show, so we don't need to cover that. And then the last bit really to cover is the settings. So you've got the countries. Most of these should be there, but if you ever come across one that isn't, then you can add that, and it's got the relevant ISO codes. So that's used for customers placing orders, but also it is used for your shipping setup. So if you need to set up shipping to a specific country and you find that it isn't showing up when you're adding it via the shipping zones, just make sure that it's in this list. If it's not, then you can go ahead and add that. So name, alpha, and all of those codes. And then the last one is clear website cache, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. Most of the time, any changes that you do make within WebCMS will reflect on the website straight away. But if you find that something is not showing, just give the website, clear the website cache, and then that should push it through. A couple of other bits, you can obviously get to the website, you've got the user settings, and then you've got the 2-factor authentication to set up as well. Appreciate that was kind of a quick overall review of everything in WebCMS. As I said, recently we've done a homepage modules webinar, an account overview modules, and all the different things that you can do with that. We're going to be having more webinars throughout the year. One thing I'm just going to quickly touch on that didn't touch on too much at the start. Within the catalog management section, we are hoping to make this clearer within the description tab. We're working on possibly rearranging this. But if you weren't aware, the page title, keywords, and short description are all used for SEO purposes. So that's the fields that Google is crawling and looking at in making sure, helping your website appear on Google rankings and search results. So absolutely well worth making sure that you have got information in there. It's not just products as well. Make sure that you've got it on your department. Make sure that you've got it on your catalog department. Make sure you've got all of the data in there. As most people are using nowadays, there are AI platforms out there that will write you the data that you need to put in those fields. So again, well worth exploring those. We are also looking into potential services that we may be able to offer in the future. So those would be paid services, which kind of will help you with your SEO data moving forward. So once and if we're in a position to share more details about that, then we will do so in the future. Has anyone got any questions for now? I can see the Q&A has popped up. Yes, Georgie, yes. So we are working on adding feature set import to the current Web CMS importer. So yeah, you'll be able to add filters to products that don't currently have them. I haven't been shown yet the feature importer via the Web CMS importer. It's said it's just going through final development. So hopefully I'll get to see that in the next week or so, and then hopefully shared with you and released live by the end of the month. But yeah, that will be there for you to add yourself via a spreadsheet. Any other questions, either via the Q&A or the chat? If there is anything that you suddenly think of, either just drop me an email. If there's something that you want to try and do on the website but you're not sure how to, or there's possibly a feature missing, something like that, just come and have a chat, and we'll see what we can work out, whether that is hopefully just a setting enabled, whether there's a need for any bespoke implementation, whether it's a product improvement idea. Come and have a chat with us, and we'll see what we can do. Q&A. Nope, it flashed up orange, but I think that was just reminding me that there was a question there. So if that is all for now, then I will let you all carry on with the rest of your afternoon. I'll try and get this uploaded to YouTube by the end of the week, so that you can go back and rewatch it if you need to. But for now, enjoy the rest of your day, and see you next time.